Introduction and Legislation. Module 2. In this module, you will gain a better understanding of what WHMIS is, the three main elements of WHMIS, and the roles and responsibilities when it comes to WHMIS in the workplace. It's important to note that Canada has updated WHMIS, and the old WHMIS 1988 regulations can no longer be used anywhere in Canada. Why you need this training. Wherever you work, whether it is in a hospital, garage, laboratory, construction site, or office, chances are you come into contact with hazardous products while on the job. If you look around your workplace, you might find paint, glue, cleaning products, fire extinguishers, batteries, or oil. All of these products can harm you if you don't exercise your right to know. What you will learn from this course. After you have completed this WHMIS training program, you will understand what WHMIS is and how it affects you, have the ability to identify hazardous products, understand information found on WHMIS labels, and understand what information is available on a product safety data sheet and how to use this important information quickly and easily. As a result, you will know how to work more safely with hazardous products on a day-to-day basis at the workplace. WHMIS. WHMIS is an acronym that stands for Workplace Hazardous Materials Information System. GHS. GHS is an acronym that stands for Globally Harmonized System. What is WHMIS? In the early 1980s, there were approximately 500,000 work-related injuries in Canada per year. Unfortunately, these numbers were on the rise as more and more injuries and deaths were occurring every year. As a result, a team of labor, business, and government representatives were tasked with reducing the ever-climbing number of work-related injuries and deaths throughout Canada. Over a period of several years, WHMIS was designed. On October 31, 1988, WHMIS became the law by federal and provincial legislations. More on WHMIS. WHMIS is federal and provincial legislation that was designed to keep workers and employers informed of the dangers and hazards associated with the chemicals and substances that they may come into contact with while on the job. In order for the WHMIS system to work, all parties, including suppliers, employers, and workers, must comply with the regulations while at the workplace. In 2015, Canada adopted parts of the United Nations Globally Harmonized System, or GHS, and released the new WHMIS program to ensure a better standard of safety across Canada for employees working with hazardous products. Why GHS? You might be asking, why? GHS symbols are recognized worldwide, which makes international labeling and shipping of products much easier. It also means that there will be only one set of symbols used worldwide, making for easier learning and safer communications. For example, under the old system, a product in Canada may have been listed as toxic. However, other countries may have labeled the same product as hazardous or even non-toxic. GHS removes these communication issues, increases safety, and lowers the cost of compliance. WHMIS is the law. Although every province in Canada has its own legislation, every workplace in Canada is required to abide by the WHMIS regulations. People or companies who do not abide by WHMIS can be charged with an offense, and if convicted, may be fined or jailed. Why WHMIS is needed. Without WHMIS, many workplaces would be dangerous. Lack of knowledge about hazardous products used at the workplace can cause serious injury and possibly death. Exposure to hazardous products can cause many health problems, including nervous system damage, lung or kidney damage, cancer, burns, etc., and skin damage. Additionally, some hazardous products can cause fires or explosions and are considered to be safety hazards. Hazardous products. WHMIS was designed to ensure worker safety when dealing with hazardous materials on the job. Hazardous materials covered under WHMIS are considered to be hazardous products. There are different classes of hazardous products. In the next module, you will learn more about the different classes. WHMIS roles. When it comes to WHMIS, there are 3 roles that carry specific responsibilities for the supplier, the employer, and the employee. Who is a supplier? A supplier is a person who manufactures, processes, packages, sells, or imports a hazardous material intended for use in the workplace. Who is an employer? An employer is a person who is in charge of a worksite where hazardous products are used. Who is an employee? An employee is a person who performs work for an employer using the hazardous materials. Supplier responsibilities. WHMIS legislation requires suppliers or manufacturers of hazardous products to classify materials into one or more of the hazard classes, properly label the hazardous products, and supply safety data sheets, or SDSs, for each product. Employer responsibilities. WHMIS legislation requires employers to develop safe procedures for employees to ensure that hazardous products are labeled or identified, obtain safety data sheets for hazardous products, and educate workers on the safe handling and use of products, use of product information, proper storage, and emergency procedures. Worker responsibilities. WHMIS legislation requires workers to take regular WHMIS training and apply the knowledge on a day-to-day basis at the workplace. Notify the employer or supplier if labels or SDSs are out of date, inaccurate, or missing, and use proper protective equipment such as gloves and goggles as required by WHMIS and other occupational health and safety regulations. 3 main elements to WHMIS. WHMIS can be divided into 3 main elements. 1. Labels. To identify the type of hazard, alert you to dangers, and provide safety precautions. 2. Safety data sheets, SDSs. Data sheets provide detailed information on products including the hazards, how to protect yourself, and what to do in an emergency. 3. Worker education. An education program, such as this course, keeps you informed on how to apply WHMIS in your day-to-day contact with hazardous materials. Speedy Sanitizer Cleaning Solution. For demonstration purposes, this course will refer to a product we call Speedy Sanitizer. Speedy Sanitizer is a common type of cleaning solution that can be found in many workplaces. Speedy Sanitizer, however, can be quite dangerous to your health if proper care is not taken while using the product. From labels to SDSs, we'll be referring to this product in terms of how WHMIS applies to it and where you need to look for information in order to protect your health. Conclusion. Since the implementation of WHMIS, there has been a steady decline in work-related injuries throughout Canada. In other words, WHMIS is really working. We're here to help WHMIS work for you. Welcome to the end of module quiz. Here, you'll be presented with a number of questions that you need to answer. You only have one attempt at each question, and you need to get at least 75% in order to pass, unless otherwise specified on your screen. If you pass, you can continue on to other modules. If you don't pass, you will need to repeat this section and the quiz as many times as you need to until you get a passing quiz score. Good luck!